In the steamy bathroom of my suite at the Grand Hyatt in New York City, I stepped out of the shower, towel forgotten on the rack. The knock came, but before I could respond, the door clicked open. "Room service," a deep voice announced as a man in uniform pushed a cart inside, his eyes widening as they landed on my completely naked form. I scrambled for the towel, heart pounding, face burning with embarrassment. "Oh God, I'm so sorry," I stammered, wrapping it around my waist hastily. He didn't immediately leave. Instead, he smiled apologetically, his green eyes kind and surprisingly warm. "No, it's my fault. I should have waited. Are you okay?" I stood there dripping, the plush carpet soaking under my feet, trying to process what had just happened. The guy was tall, maybe early 30s, with dark hair neatly styled and a jawline that could cut glass. His name tag read Alex Rivera. He looked professional, but there was something disarming in his expression. No judgment, just genuine concern mixed with a hint of amusement. "Yeah, I'm fine. Just mortified," I said, forcing a laugh that came out shaky. "I thought I had the Do Not Disturb sign on." Alex nodded, keeping his gaze politely on the cart. "Happens more than you'd think. People forget. Let me just set this down and get out of your way." He moved the tray of coffee and pastries to the desk with efficient grace, but he didn't rush. For a second, our eyes met again, and something passed between us. An unspoken acknowledgement that this moment was absurd and oddly human. I tightened the towel, suddenly aware of how exposed I felt, not just physically. At 28, I had built a careful life back in Ohio, good job in finance, a fiancée named Emily whom my family adored, church on Sundays. But here in New York for a week-long conference, away from all that, the walls felt thinner. "Thanks. Really. Most people would have bolted." He chuckled softly. "I've seen worse. One time a guy was doing yoga in the buff. You're handling it better than him." Alex paused by the door, hand on the handle. "If you need anything else, real room service, call down. Or, if you want to talk about the city, I'm local. New York can be overwhelming for out-of-towners." I hesitated. Something in his voice made me want to keep him there a little longer. "Wait, actually, the coffee smells great. You from around here?" "Born in Queens, raised in Brooklyn. Moved around a bit." He leaned against the doorframe, relaxed now that the initial shock had passed. We talked for 20 minutes. I told him my name was Ryan Ellis, that I was here for work but felt lost in the crowds. He shared how he worked room service to pay bills while chasing acting auditions. His laugh was easy, his stories vivid, late-night subway rides, hidden bookstores, the way the city never slept. By the time he left, I had his number scribbled on the hotel notepad. "In case you want a real New York tour, not the tourist traps," he said with a wink. Alone again, I sat on the edge of the king-sized bed, coffee in hand, staring at the city skyline through the floor-to-ceiling windows. What was I doing? I had Emily waiting back home, texts from my mom asking when I'd propose properly. My family had made it clear. Settle down, start a family, live the right way. But talking to Alex felt like breathing fresh air after years underwater. The embarrassment from the naked incident faded into something warmer, a spark I hadn't felt in years. That night, I couldn't sleep. The conference sessions blurred by the next day. During a break, I texted him. "Free tonight? Could use that tour." His reply came fast. "Meet me at the lobby at 7. Wear comfortable shoes." We walked through Times Square first, the lights overwhelming, then escaped to quieter streets in the village. Alex pointed out hidden murals, told stories of his own coming up in a big Puerto Rican family that had its own expectations. They wanted me to be a doctor or lawyer. Not exactly thrilled when I said I wanted to act, and that I was gay. He said it casually, but I caught the weight behind it. I didn't say much about myself at first. We grabbed pizza slices from a hole-in-the-wall place, sitting on a stoop watching people pass. "You seem like you've got it together," he said between bites. What brings a guy like you to feel lost in New York? I shrugged, the cheese burning my tongue. Family stuff. Expectations. You know how it is. He nodded like he really did. By the end of the night, back at the hotel, we stood in the lobby. Thanks, Alex. This was nice. Better than nice. Anytime, Ryan. His hand brushed mine as he handed me back my jacket. The touch lingered a second too long. Back in my room, I stared at the ceiling. The price of this feeling was already clear in my mind. Guilt. But for the first time, I wondered if it was worth paying. The next morning, the conference felt like a cage. Colleagues droned on about market trends while my mind replayed every moment with Alex. His easy smile. The way he listened without pushing. I told myself it was just friendliness. Nothing more. But when my phone buzzed with a text from Emily, "Miss you, babe. Can't wait for you to come home and finally set a date." The guilt hit like a wave. I replied with a heart emoji and a vague soon. Then I texted Alex. "Free this afternoon?" We met at Central Park. The leaves were turning, tourists snapping photos, but Alex knew the quiet paths. We walked for hours. He told me about his last big audition, how rejection stung but kept him going. "Acting is like love," he said. "You put yourself out there, vulnerable, and sometimes it pays off. Sometimes it breaks you." I opened up more than I planned. About growing up in a small Ohio town where church and family came first. My dad, a strict deacon, who preached about traditional values every Sunday. My mom, who dreamed of grandkids. Emily, the girl next door everyone expected me to marry. She's great, kind, but it feels like performing, like I'm playing the role they wrote for me. Alex stopped by a bench overlooking the lake. "Have you ever told anyone about how you really feel?" I shook my head. "Not really. Not out loud." He didn't press. Instead, he shared his own story. His family had struggled when he came out at 19. His father stopped speaking to him for 2 years. It hurt like hell, but hiding hurt more. I lost friends, sure, but I gained myself. We sat in silence as ducks glided across the water. The air grew cooler. When he suggested dinner at a small Italian place he knew, I said yes without hesitation. Over pasta and red wine, the conversation turned deeper. Alex asked about my dreams beyond the finance job. I admitted I once wanted to travel, right? Maybe live somewhere big like this. But family, they sacrificed a lot for me to go to college. I can't just throw that away. "Love isn't throwing things away," he said quietly. "It's choosing what matters most, even if it costs you." His knee brushed mine under the table. Neither of us moved it away. The spark from the hotel room had grown into a steady flame. When we left the restaurant, walking back toward the hotel, he took my hand for a block. Felt electric. Terrifying, right? That night in my room, alone, I paced. My phone had missed calls from my sister, who texted, "Mom's asking about the proposal ring. Don't keep Emily waiting forever." The pressure was a vice. Yet Alex's words echoed. For the first time, I let myself imagine a different life. One where I didn't have to pretend. We met every evening after that. A museum visit where our shoulders touched in the dim light of an exhibit. Coffee in a cozy cafe where he made me laugh until my sides hurt. Each moment built the connection. But with it came the inner storm. Every laugh with Alex felt like a betrayal of the life waiting in Ohio. Every shared silence made me question how long I could keep living half a life. On the 4th night, back at the hotel after a late movie, Alex lingered in the hallway outside my room. "I like you, Ryan. More than I probably should, given you're only here a week." "I like you too," I whispered. "A lot." He leaned in, and for a heartbeat, I thought he might kiss me. Instead, he pressed his forehead to mine. "No rush. But don't disappear on me when you go home." I nodded, but inside, the conflict raged. The price of this feeling was becoming clear. The slow unraveling of the safe world I had built. And I wasn't sure I could stop it. The days blurred into a rhythm of stolen time. Conference by day, Alex by night. We explored Brooklyn, ate street food in Chinatown, talked until the early hours on a rooftop bar overlooking the lights. Alex was patient, never pushing physical boundaries beyond a hand on my back or fingers intertwined. But the emotional pull was stronger than anything physical could have been. One evening, after a long walk along the High Line, we sat on a bench as the sun set. "Tell me about your family," I asked. He described his mom, who eventually came around and now bragged about her famous actor son, even though he was still waiting tables. His younger brother who looked up to him. The father who still kept distance but sent a birthday card every year. It took time. Forgiveness isn't instant, but love won out eventually. I told him about my dad's sermons on sin and family values, how coming out would shatter them. They'd see it as failure, as me choosing selfishness over everything they taught. "Is it selfish to want to be happy?" Alex asked, his voice gentle but firm. I didn't have an answer. That night, back in the room, we watched a movie on the hotel TV. Halfway through, his arm went around my shoulders. I leaned into him. The closeness felt like home. When the credits rolled, I turned to him. "I don't know what I'm doing, Alex, but I don't want to stop." He smiled softly. "Then don't." Our first kiss happened then. Slow, tentative, full of all the unspoken fears and hopes. It wasn't dramatic fireworks. It was quiet, real, the kind that sinks deep into your bones. Afterward, we held each other without words. No rush, just presence. But the guilt followed me into sleep. I dreamed of my mother's disappointed face, my father's angry silence, Emily's tears. Waking up, I stared at the ceiling. The choice was forming. Keep pretending or risk everything. The next day, Emily called. "Ryan, I booked my flight. I'll come to New York this weekend to surprise you. We can talk about the future in person." "Mom and Dad are so excited." My stomach dropped. "That's great. Can't wait." After hanging up, I met Alex in a quiet cafe. I told him about the visit. His face tightened. "You're still engaged?" "It's complicated. I never meant for it to go this far, but breaking it off would destroy them." He looked hurt but composed. "I get family pressure. But Ryan, you can't keep living for them. At some point, you have to choose you." We argued, not loudly, but the tension was thick. He left early, saying he needed time to think. Alone, I walked the streets, the city noise drowning my thoughts. Every step forced me to confront the cost. Continuing with Emily meant safety but emptiness. Choosing Alex meant freedom but potential isolation from everyone I grew up with. That evening, Alex texted, "Sorry for earlier. Meet me at the hotel? I want to understand." We talked for hours in my room. He shared how his own coming out cost him holidays, trust, pieces of his identity until he rebuilt. "I don't want that for you, but I also can't be the secret on the side." I promised I would figure it out, but promises felt hollow against the reality crashing in. The romantic bubble was popping, revealing the hard edges of real life. Family loyalty, societal judgment, the moral weight of hurting people who loved me. Emily arrived on Friday. She hugged me tightly in the hotel lobby, her familiar perfume bringing back a flood of memories from Ohio picnics and church potlucks. "You look different," she said, studying my face. "New York agreeing with you?" I forced a smile. "Busy, but good to see you." We spent the day sightseeing like tourists. She talked nonstop about wedding ideas, baby names, how my parents were planning a big announcement. Every word felt like a chain tightening. When she suggested calling my mom on video, I made an excuse about bad signal. Alex had gone quiet after our last talk. I sent a text, "Emily's here. It's complicated. Give me time." No reply. That night, after Emily fell asleep in the separate bed, I insisted on jet lag, honey. I slipped out to the hallway and called Alex. "Can we meet? Just for a minute." He agreed to the lobby bar. When he arrived, his expression was guarded. "So this is real. You're still going through with it?" "I don't know anymore," I admitted. "She's here. My whole life is tied to this. But being with you, it's made me see what I've been missing." He sighed, running a hand through his hair. "Ryan, I care about you. Deeply. But I won't be the reason you live a lie. And I can't watch you hurt her either. That's not fair to anyone." The conversation turned raw. He accused me of stringing him along. I accused him of not understanding small-town pressure. Voices rose slightly until the bartender glanced over. In the end, Alex stood. "Figure out what you want. But don't expect me to wait forever while you decide." He walked out. The betrayal I felt wasn't his, it was my own. I had created this mess through indecision. The next day, Emily sensed something. "You've been distant. Is there someone else?" I lied. "No, just work stress." But the lie tasted bitter. That afternoon, while Emily shopped, I found Alex at the hotel staff entrance on his break. We argued again in a quiet alley. "You pushed me to feel things I buried for years," I said. "Now you're walking away?" "I'm not walking away from you," he replied, eyes flashing. "I'm walking away from being your experiment while you keep your perfect straight life." His words cut deep. In that moment, I saw the damage my hesitation caused. Alex had opened his heart after his own family pain, and I was repeating the cycle of rejection. Emily's visit ended with her excited about our future. As her cab pulled away, I stood on the sidewalk, torn in two. The moral dilemma was stark. Honor the commitments that defined my identity, or risk destroying my family for a love that might not survive the real world. My parents surprised me by flying in 2 days later. "We couldn't wait," my dad said, clapping my back in the hotel lobby. "Wanted to see this big city and talk about the wedding in person." The pressure became unbearable. Dinners together, tours, constant talk of grandchildren and legacy. Alex stopped responding to texts. I felt the loss like a physical ache. One evening, after my family went to bed, I went to the hotel bar. Alex was there on a rare off-duty visit, grabbing a drink with a coworker. Our eyes met. He excused himself and approached. "Ryan, I miss you," I blurted. "This is killing me." He looked tired. "You made your choice when you didn't tell her the truth." Desperation made me reckless. I grabbed his hand. "Come to my room. Let's talk properly." He hesitated but followed. In the suite, words poured out. My fears, my love for him, the terror of losing my family. The conversation turned emotional, then tender. We kissed again, deeper this time, the built-up tension breaking through. But fate intervened. A knock at the door. My sister, who had tagged along with my parents, stood there with room keys. She had seen us through the slightly open door. Her face went pale. "Ryan? What is this?" The confrontation exploded. She stormed in, demanding answers. Alex tried to leave quietly, but she blocked him. "You're the reason he's been acting strange? My brother is not like that." Words flew, accusations of betrayal, sin, selfishness. I defended Alex, but weakly at first. In the heat, I said something I regretted instantly. "It's nothing serious. Just a fling." Alex's face crumpled. "Nothing serious? After everything?" He left without another word. My sister called our parents. The hotel room became a battlefield. My dad, red-faced, quoted scripture. My mom cried, asking what she did wrong. I tried to explain the years of hiding, the authenticity I found with Alex. But they saw only betrayal of Emily, of God, of them. "Choose, son," my dad said coldly. "This life or your family." I didn't choose that night. Instead, I watched Alex walk away, the pain of my half-denial written on his face. The price was immediate. I had betrayed the one person who saw me truly, all to soften the blow for my family. The next morning, my family checked out early. "Come home when you're ready to be the man we raised," my dad said. Alone in the empty suite, the weight crushed me. Every decision had a cost, and I had paid with the heart of someone who deserved better. Weeks passed after I returned to Ohio. The town felt smaller, suffocating. Emily sensed the distance and eventually confronted me. I told her the truth, gently, painfully. She cried, but surprisingly, she wasn't shocked. "I always wondered," she said. "I loved the idea of us more than the reality." We ended things amicably, though her family and mine were devastated. My parents barely spoke to me. Church friends distanced themselves. The social cost was real. Invitations dried up. Whispers followed me at the grocery store. But I started therapy. I reached out to Alex with a long message explaining everything, apologizing for the denial, for the hurt. No reply for days. Then one evening, my phone rang. "Alex, I'm in Ohio for an audition. Can we meet?" We sat in a park near my childhood home. He looked the same but guarded. I poured out the changes, the coming out to close friends, the strained but ongoing talks with my mom, who was slowly softening. "I lost a lot, Alex, but I gained myself, and I want to fight for us if you'll let me." He listened quietly. "You hurt me, Ryan, deeply. I thought I was just a vacation distraction. You weren't. You were the wake-up call." I took his hand. "I'm willing to pay whatever price comes next. Family might take years to fully accept, but I'm done hiding." Tears welled in his eyes. We talked for hours about rebuilding trust, about the slow work of healing wounds on both sides. His from past rejections, mine from lifelong pressure. In the end, he agreed to try. One day at a time. No more secrets. Months later, we built something real. Alex visited Ohio. My mom met him over coffee, awkward but civil. My dad remained distant, but the door wasn't fully closed. I left the finance job for something more creative, closer to the dreams I shared with Alex. The societal judgment lingered, but so did the freedom. The journey taught me that every choice carries consequences. Love demanded sacrifice, not just from me, but from everyone involved. Family bonds stretched but didn't always break. Hearts healed, though scars remained. In the end, was Ryan right to follow his heart despite the pain it caused his loved ones? Or was the price too high for his own happiness?